Welcome again, guys, to Rewrite the Narrative, where it is okay to be curious. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell for future video uploads and drop a comment. Today, I'm going to do a reaction. This one is a reaction to Brian Lara on Fox Cricket, where he is highlighting the best players of his era. The players that he think were the best players and the best bowlers that he faced. He highlighted some bowlers and some batsmen that are no surprise to anyone. Some players did not make the list that we probably would have thought, but again, this is from his perspective. Let's get into it.
Oh, he's got him, yes, he's got him. Warren's got a wicket in his first over again.
I think Shane Warne, with the bowling attack that he played with, you know, majority of the time, if it wasn't Craig McDermott and Bruce Reid, it would have been Pearson Gillespie, Brett Lee, and I felt that nearly on every occasion he was bowling maybe at 10 wickets out of the 20. The fast bowlers would get their opportunities. They were all very good bowlers, and we've seen other spinners around the world where, you know, from ball one they were given the ball and they had that opportunity to bowl from the very beginning. So I think what made him great was the conditions that he played in Australia. I think it's even conditions. It's good for fast bowlers early on. It's great for batsmen in the middle of a test match, and of course the spinners come into their own, you know, second, third, fourth day go on. Shane Warne was just the sort of bowler that was so versatile in any conditions that he was playing in, you know, be it on a cold day at Lord's in England or at the MCG or maybe down in the Caribbean, where sometimes, you know, the pitches are pretty good to bat on. I think that he excelled in all conditions, and he would be definitely my #1 spinner that I've ever played against, and so simply from the fact that mentally I think he was stronger than everybody else.
That's interesting, very interesting that he would have picked Shane Warne. Most people would think that Moe Litteran is a stronger spinner than Shane Warne, but it's kind of coming from a mental space with Brian Lara. If you notice, he talk about their ability in the conditions, the different conditions. It's not just your talent to bat the ball or hit the ball really far. It's just the conditions. And then we all know that some players thrive in some conditions while others don't. And he gives Shane Warne that edge because from ball one he's able to strive all the way through the innings and in any condition, whether it's in Australia where it's a good condition for pace and batting and later on for spin, or in the Caribbean where it's good for batting, or in India, anywhere. You just feel like Shane Warne have what it takes in any condition, so he give him the edge because of his mental capacity. Let's keep it going.
Murali did give me quite a bit of problems, and you know, I scored a lot of runs against him, but he was a very, very tricky spinner. The other spinners that actually gave me problems, I think, is guys who didn't like to give the ball air. I like to come down the track and you know, get to the pitch of the ball. So anybody like Anil Kumble, Harbhajan Singh, Sakling Mustak, who kept it flat and kept me in my crease, sort of frustrated me, and those were the ones that actually I least wanted to face.
Brian Lara is one of the best cricketer of all time. He's the world record holder for the most amount of runs in one match right now, and he broke the world record twice, and it came down to some simple thing like this. It's not that the bowler have to be exceptional, it's just that he had preference, and if the bowler, the spinner, did not give the ball air, meaning that he did not give him the opportunity to read the ball while it's in the sky coming towards him, he had problems. If a bowler had known that, then they would have given him more problems. But that's a very good and a very interesting take.
Wasim Akram has struck, he has got the vital wicket.
One for sure, and that's Wasim Akram. He was the best fast bowler and the most threatening fast bowler that I've ever faced. His deceptive pace, able to swing the ball both ways, and he was just an exceptional talent.
Oh, he's got him! McGrath's got 2 and 2 balls, that's a beauty!
Glenn McGrath would have gotten me out more than any other bowler in the world. A guy who's very stingy with his runs. He was just on one line, one length, and he frustrated you. He had the wicket-taking balls as well. Maybe not the pace of a lot of the other fast bowlers, but someone that troubled me a lot. So Glenn McGrath Wasim Akram will be up there. If I'm allowed, I'd love to call my West Indian fast bowlers because I was so happy to be playing international cricket with them and not against them. But I did play first-class cricket against Courtney Walsh, Malcolm Marshall, the late Malcolm Marshall, and of course Curtly Ambrose. And they were very, very special.
Hey, that's very interesting take, and I like that he paid some homage to the West Indies players, because I wonder if Brian Lara would have been the batsman that he is right now if he had played against us, the West Indies talent, his entire career. Would he be a better? Would he have been a well? Actually, I would say that he played against them in the net, but out there on the pitch where the judgment is coming your way with all intent, no good intent, all bad intent, I think it would have probably been a different career. Because Wasim Akram, nobody can doubt the talent that Wasim Akram is. He is right up there with Curtly Ambrose, definitely right up there with him, but he was not above him. And Brian Lara recognized him as the best fast bowler that he faced. But again, it's a fast bowler from a different country, not from the West Indies. Let's keep it moving.
Talent. Coming to the end of my career, I had a test match or two against the Englishman, the top fast bowler we could take, Anderson.
Outstanding skill levels from Anderson.
From a very young age, I felt had that ability to become a great fast bowler. And you see today what he has achieved. There's been a number of fast bowlers around the world. Mackay Entini, Sean Pollock, Alan Donnell, Waka Yunus and Shoaib Akhtar. There's just a number of them, and special breed of fast bowlers.
And that is a magnificent century from Sachin Tendulkar.
Definitely Sachin Tendulkar, and that's not taking anything away from pre-Sachin time in Indian batting, because obviously they had Sunil Gavaskar, Mohammad Azharuddin. But when you're talking about an Indian player in India, right, there are a number of them who's going to score a lot of runs against you. When the Indian batsmen left India, there were few who would survive and sort of, acclimatize to the conditions in Australia or the Caribbean. And that was the first thing I saw with Sachin, is that it doesn't matter where you took him, it doesn't matter the pace of the bowler or the amount of spin that he's getting, he had the technique capable of handling everything. And I think the Indian public also recognized that they had this one man, right, that would stand up in every conditions. And I think it was his first test match against Pakistan, or very, very early in his career, if it wasn't his first, where he actually got hit, I think from a short delivery. Not sure if it was Waka or Wasim or Shoaib, but he got up, dusted his pants, he was bleeding as well, and he stood up there and he batted. And that is something that not just Indian batsmen, a lot of batsmen around the world, will be scurrying to the pavilion to get treatment and, spend some time back there. But I think he showed a lot of guts, and then obviously his talent and his ability, his technique, was something that was sort of picture perfect. And he just blossomed into maybe one of the greatest batsmen of all time. From the age of 16, I think 25 years of international cricket.
Again, we have to look at the perspective that Brian Lara look at cricket from. It's not the talent, it's not just the talent, it's just the fact that you have to be tenacious. Your ability to stay out there under the worst circumstances, bat for long hours, score in any conditions. He's saying that the Indian batsmen are pretty good in India. It doesn't matter who the bowlers are. The Indian batsmen will do a very good job in India. But Sachin Tendulkar was that batsman who would do a very good job everywhere. And we saw when he was explaining why he recognized Shane Warne as the best bowler, it's because he was good everywhere. It's not the talent in an individual spot or an ideal spot. It's the talent wherever you go. So he highlighted Sachin Tendulkar as the best batsman ever from his perspective.
That's something very special.
Ricky Ponting becomes the only player in history to score hundreds in each innings of his 100th test match.
Ricky was just a great player, first of all. I think he started his career, and there was a period of time that he was, in and out of the team. And I think I remembered the innings that actually got him or solidify his place in Australia the batting lineup, and that was in Barbados, I think, in 1999. He scored 100, and from there I think he just took it, you know, it was no turning back for Ricky. And his confidence in batting, again, in all conditions, was a joy to watch, and that's what makes a good batsman. It's like he needs to have the ideal conditions for him to play well. You know, great batsmen bat in all conditions, and they are successful. And that's one of the things that with Ricky, you know, I think he leaned more on the side of aggression, and you know, if he had to backtrack, he would, okay, bring out a good defensive shot. And that is a very dangerous batsman to face as an opposing captain. Yeah, he scored a lot of runs, different conditions, and I think he proved himself.
Again, that's the point he's making. If you are a great batsman, you don't need good conditions. You create your opportunities for yourself. And most of us could have seen that with Ricky Ponting. For real, he was confident. He was extremely confident. If somehow he was a great batsman, a great captain, and he felt that he was the best, and he showed it. Even among the best bowlers or the best batsman, against the best team, even though he had probably the best team in the history of cricket, could be, it's arguable that he had the best team, but he was very confident. And Brian Lara again highlighted that the conditions, your ability to excel in bad conditions, is where your greatness come from.
Gilchrist is on his way to a century here, and it's not going to take him long.
With Gilly, is very simple. And during his career, Australia would have been the best team in the world. So I don't know how many innings he would average a test match. It definitely wouldn't be 2. I mean, I didn't average 2 innings a test match, and I played in a declining team. So he most likely had not much opportunity to bat. But whenever he did, and whenever Australia was in trouble, you know, Gilly came out and he counter-attacked. Batting number 6 or number 7, he came out there and he's got some big hundreds on some tight situations, pretty much taking the bowling attack apart. I picked Sangakkara as well as another wicketkeeper batsman. I used to wicketkeep when I was younger, and to have that skill as a wicketkeeper, to be able to bat that well, where in one-day games Gilchrist was opening, Sangakkara was opening, and I think it's just a special gift. And that 100 that Gilchrist made in Barbados in the finals, it's just another special occasion. But also with all the Australians in the team, the one guy I spend a lot of close time with is the wicketkeeper, the guy who's mumbling at the back of me. So I've had loads of conversations with Adam Gilchrist over the years, and we share a special relationship as well.
Interesting, very interesting. And again, this gives you a little insight in the mind of Brian Charles Lara, the cricket master. And some would consider him to be the best batsman of all time, while others would consider him to be up there in the top 5, somewhere about. Brian Lara breaks down his reasoning behind who is the best and why he would recognize him as the best, or even recognize him as a great batsman. Adam Gilchrist, on the other hand, he said Adam Gilchrist did not average 2 innings per test match. He said he didn't, even though he was a top order batsman. Brian Lara, he did not average 2 innings per test match. That's another take that a lot of us analysts does not put into perspective. Chris Gayle, on the other hand, for example, he would have averaged around 2 innings per test match. Maybe not, but his average would have been higher than most because he's an opening batsman. Sangakkara, another opening batsman, would have averaged 2 innings per. No, he was not an opening test batsman. But if you put into perspective the amount of innings that you play, it would have allowed you to score more runs. I did not really pay attention to this. I would have thought about the amount of matches that you play, but that would have affected your average as well. This is Brian Lara giving his take on the best batsmen of his era. I want to think that he was just talking about his era, because we haven't seen a lot of batsmen from the West Indies being highlighted here. You know, we had Gary Sobers, Viv Richards. We have some very good batsmen who could have made the list. But I'm thinking that he's talking about the players that he was directly involved with, and the struggles and the joy and the jubilance, the battles that he faced while playing with them. Rewrite Narrative, like, share and subscribe.
Century for Carl Hooper. It's his 5th in Test match cricket.
You know, there's one player that I feel that the rest of the world really didn't get to see the true talent that he had. I mean, his scores didn't represent his talent really, and that was Carl Hooper.